Hey everybody, how you doing? It's Mr. Fuzzy Lego, and welcome back to our custom Lego minifigure video. And today I'm showing you 7 minifigures from the indie classic Cave Story. And in this video I have Quote, Curly Brace, Balrog, King, Turoko, Sue, and the Doctor. Now these figures are kind of coming out of nowhere, but I always regretted not making minifigures from 2017's release of Cave Story Plus, and Cave Story is actually one of my favorite games of all time. Of course it is, like most games that I enjoy, so I did want to make a quick set of figures from most of the main cast, excluding Misery, who I would have made if I had the necessary pieces, but I kind of didn't care, so I just did this, and Balrog and the Doctor is cool. The Doctor is actually a really cool inclusion. I'm really glad I got to make him. He's such a cool, unique figure with that giant crown, and the Mimiga are also really good, and they're very nicely sculpted. I'm very happy with the outcome of those. This is just a really nice set of figures, and like I said, Cave Story is a fantastic indie game, one of my favorites of classics that I can think of. And I'm really excited to get to make these again. I've made Cave Story figures before, but I've only made Curly and Quote, and so I'm glad I got to make them again in a bit more of a professional style, and I don't think I'll be making them ever again. So that's it for this introduction, so without further ado, let's get started. Of course, we're going to start off with Quote, or the main character you play as in Cave Story. He's pretty emotionless and doesn't really have much of a character, yet he just looks so cool to me, and with the red pants and the hat and the satellite things, I think, and the bandana thing, and of course the Polar Star is here too. I did paint another one of these. I just used one of those Star Wars pistols or mini blasters, and I just kind of glued things onto it, different pieces of plastic that I had that I cut up, and I painted the star on there and all the different details that go around the rings of it, like the circles on it. It looks pretty cool, and it's just his basic gun that he has. One detail that is lacking from this version is there's some lines that go around the hands that I did not paint, simply because I just thought that would be kind of cumbersome and it wouldn't look very good, because I just wasn't feeling it, and I wasn't feeling painting them, so I just kind of left those out. But I did paint the likeness to resemble the specific version. I think it's the Steam artwork, or at least the Japanese artwork. I don't remember exactly what it is, but it's the one that just looks very simplistic. There's not really any definition to the eyes or any detail there. It's just two dots with a line for the mouth. And I actually did paint his hair dark brown, also reference to that reference that I was using, where he had dark brown hair instead of black hair, so that's something I did as well. And the antenna pieces are weird. They're not perfect, but I definitely tried to do something different with them. As you can see, they're also really wobbly. I shouldn't even touch them because I don't want to break them, but they're like safety pins that I glued into here, and then I glued at the top like a ball of clay to protect my fingers from touching them, but also to give it that look that those have. And those just kept breaking. They were not very fun to build. I even took this character on a plane, and they somehow survived, and I don't know how it happened, but whatever. But the red paint on the, not red paint, but the red shirt, what am I talking? The red pants down there has the belt that goes inside. That's just glued onto the inside of the legs there, with the 3-dimensional holster and all the different details that go around, including the little pockets on the legs. And the scarf is also a 3-dimensional piece that I painted, and you can see there's a bit of belt buckling down there, or belt, just the belt pieces that are showing through, and he has a 3-dimensional pocket, and there's really nothing underneath the scarf. There's a little bit of a white paint. If I can remove it, here you can see he's got a bit of white paint there, but I didn't really go over that very well, because it's covered by the scarf, or whatever this is called, so I just left it at that. And that's pretty much it for Quote. I really like the way he came out, and, well, I mean, despite the stupid head antenna thing, but he's definitely a really cool new addition to my Cave Stories figures, I guess. And fan favorite Curly Brace is made very similar to Quote, with the satellite here as well, and the head there, the paint down the head, it's also based on reference, as well as the rest of it. Like, for instance, she has the red pants instead of the purple pants, which I prefer, and the machine gun here is also really cool, made out of one of those, like, I don't know what the gun is, but I have one of them somewhere, but I just cut off this, there's like a giant thing on the bottom that I cut off and sanded down, and then just painted the rest of it and glued these things to the top to give it the accurate details, and painted the rest of it, and it looks pretty cool. So if I can, I'll remove it from her hand so it doesn't cast a shadow on the rest of the figure, because we might want the rest of the figure here. And Curly Brace has a hair sculpt here that looks really good, very clean. I think it's very simplistic and not much going on to it. It even lacks a bit more of detail than it probably should, but it gets the point across. It looks really nice. She has a 3-dimensional belt that actually does attach with a waist adapter thing that I've made, and with the iron bond here, as well as all the different belts and different buckles she has. This thing also here, I forgot what it's called. It's just like a stud that I cut up and painted that circle bit with these 3-dimensional pockets. And at the back you see that there's some more yellow buckles there, and the rest of the belt looks pretty cool. I did paint also the back of the torso, the white area there. That looks pretty good. She has brown boots with the black bits on the front, and the antenna made the same way, except instead of the yellow rim, there's a brown rim around the antenna, which looks pretty cool. And that's pretty much it for Curly Brace. Very simplistic, well, aside from the stupid bell here, which took a while to paint, but a very nice figure overall. Alright, it turns out getting Balrog on a stand here was a lot harder than I thought, but here he is, Balrog, another lovable antagonist of the game. And he came out alright. He's a bit dirty in a lot of places just because I was using my old Legos, and I really wish I wasn't doing that because it leads to stuff like this, and it's a bit of an old figure, but I didn't care too much. It was mainly the front that I wanted to get right, and here he is. He looks pretty good. I have no idea what that is up there, but just try to ignore that, like I'm going to try to. But he's got a very emotionless looking face as well, just the eyes, the eyebrows, and then the just like a line, because I didn't know if I wanted to make him smiling or happy or afraid or anything, so I just did it in the middle and it made him look really boring there. I also gave him these cheese slopes as hands. And they look pretty cool, as well as these bits in the back. This was just really hard to get right. He has like clips on the back of him or something, and I just opted for using these like round bits to act as those. I didn't even paint him or anything. They're just left like this. And then the negative space here is actually just black pieces that I used to simulate the way that his like toaster arms things look. But yeah, he's very, very simplistic. He's a bit dirty in some places, like I said, but you still love him. So that's it for Balrog. Next up is our first Mika King, and he's probably my favorite character in Cave Story, simply because of his weapon, the knife, or the throwing knife, or the sword, whatever you want to call it. It's such an epic weapon to just throw it, especially at level 3. It's such a really cool item to use, and it's my favorite to use in the entire game. So I definitely wanted to make a king look really nice, and the first thing I wanted to make sure that I did was, of course, the head sculpt. I want to make sure that I got the sculpt right, and I think this came out pretty good. I used sculpted onto a Lego head and just kind of, painted it over. Used gloss to kind of clean it up in some areas, and I painted the eyes and the mouth, and wherever this like lines around his nose are. I think it came out pretty good. It definitely looks like King. I did have to make his ears go out a bit more because of the arms. And the arms they still can move inside here because you couldn't squish them together like they are in the game, because then the ears would break off if you tried to move the hand or the arm or something. And I noticed I've been calling these hands instead of arms for some reason. I don't know why. But yeah, the dagger is actually Frodo's sting. I had to borrow that for him, and I'm gonna have to order another one whenever I get to finishing those Lord of the Ring figures. So that's kind of weird that I had to just borrow that. But I did give him this like little handkerchief thing that hangs from it, apparently, and in his official artwork, the sword has a bit of detailing to it. So I did give him that detailing. I did give him the short legs as well, and then the skirt piece or the robe, whatever he's wearing. This part is a waist cape that I put on there, and then they're sculpting on the arms and then the neck piece or the top of the torso there. And as the back, you can see there's just more black outlining to show, or more black lines to show where the creases are in the fabric, I guess you could say. And yeah, I think he just came to be a really cool figure. Definitely one of my favorites in this set. And we're gonna move on to the next Mimiga. The next figure is Sue Sakamoto, who was, of course, transformed into a Mimiga. This is her most iconic form, I believe. And I did also sculpt her head as well, the same way that I did King with the sculpt onto the Lego head, and then glossed it over in white paint and everything like that. It didn't come out perfect like I wanted it to. I think the face is a little weird looking, especially towards the mouth area. But it certainly looks good, especially from the size with the giant ears that I gave. I think it does represent the character very well. And I did give her like a sculpted blue, like the sweater has a bit more of definition around the edges here. I think it came out really cool as well. And to the back, you can see there's also a custom tail there, as well as some more detailing there on the rest of the back of the torso. It definitely looks really good. Short legs, white short legs, especially for her as well. And the little toes are really cute. I like those. But I really like the way this came out, especially. The hands are also really nice. And I just want to preface how hard the eyes were to get right, because they had to be consistent. But yeah, very simple figure regardless. No real accessories for her or anything. Just a nice addition to the collection, and I'm happy with the way she came out. And the second to last minifigure and last Mimiga is Turoko, and along with King is definitely I think my second favorite Mimiga in the game, and she came out really good. I think she's really cute looking, and she got the silver pendant, and like the painting on the vest represent the puffiness, because I didn't actually sculpt it. I think it would have been too much. So I just kind of painted it, and I think it came out really good all around. The silver locket especially I really like. I think it just came out really nice around her neck, and it's just painted, nothing three-dimensional there. But on the back, it also has some more detailing with the locket still running around the back of it. And she has a tail too. But she also, just sculpted head, just like the rest of them, with the Lego head as a base. She's have the painted like cheeks and the eyes and the mouth, which came out all really great. My favorite part is probably the little hair that comes over her head, and her ears also are really nice. They're kind of different on both sides. They're not exactly symmetrical, but they give that rabbit puppy kind of dog look. So I'm really happy with the way this came out. Her arms are actually completely blank. They're just white arms and white hands, and I didn't do anything to the rest of it because it was pretty simplistic. And the legs are pretty much the same way that King and Sue's were. So that's it for Turoko, and we're going to go on to the last figure. And last but not least is the Doctor. Not the final boss, but definitely one of the most iconic ones, especially in the indie realm. But this is definitely an interesting figure. You can see right off the bat that the tie on the torso and the shoes are all nicely painted, and the jacket too is pretty interesting. I did like some three-dimensional folds here, and the pockets are three-dimensional as well. And he even has a pin pocket back there underneath his coat there, so that looks pretty nice. But definitely the biggest part of this figure is the demon crown, the sculpted demon crown that I put on here. That took a few days to really get the shape right. Lots of sanding on the sides to make it look smooth, because sculpting is not my best skill unless it's like something very simplistic, like a hair sculpt or something like but this is just like a square on a head, which is really hard. And I actually did give him like green hair because he has like green hair in the sprite, so I just put that on the background to kind of cover up some of the back of the hair. So that looks pretty cool. And the face is painted as well with the glasses. No really any outlining or anything there. It's just white paint represented where the glasses shine. He has a smirk here as with the other painted lines to represent kind of the age of it, because he's a bit of an older gentleman. And yeah, the demon crown is where most of the work went into. I did paint on the eye up here, like the demon eye, but with the different rings around it. It looks really cool. It's like dripping like blood or goop or something. It looks really cool. And to give that this design on the side, I'm not sure exactly what it is, but I just kind of painted it. It's just on the reference that I was using specifically for the Doctor, so that came out really good. But other than that, he's a very complex figure in the head sculpt, but the rest of it is fairly simplistic. And happy that I got to make him, because it is definitely an interesting and creative looking figure, and I wouldn't have it any other way. So I'm very thankful for this. And without further ado, we're gonna go ahead and wrap up this video. That's it for this video, everybody. Thank you so much for watching, and if you enjoyed this custom LEGO minifigure video, you can always leave a like down below and comment which of these figures is your favorite, and any comments you'd like to add or improvements that I could make and whatnot. There's information down below in my description for social media platforms and commission stuff. I do have a rather long waiting list for that, but I'm working as fast as I can. I'm probably going to stop working on these kinds of projects to really get down on those, because I need to get started on some other ones I need to work on. But anyway, that's it for this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Goodbye.